We'll get rid of the drawing grid. And this is our final character. Boom. All right, welcome back. And yeah, this one's taking a little longer than I thought. What we're going to do in this one is we're just going to finalize his webbing. So I'll keep this. I'm not going to change the opacity now. What I'm going to do is just add a new layer. And this layer will be just for his webbing. And in case I mess up, I can just delete the layer. When you're drawing traditionally with pencil, you just take your time on this, and you can follow along my lines. So what I'll do is, first couple things I'll do is I'll draw in a few rendering lines. So for his arm here, I'm just going to draw some straight lines like this. And then I'm just defining some of the muscles. So I'll probably come back in. If I were just doing this in pencil, this is how I would approach it. I would just add a little volume here. Come back here, do the same thing. And I'm not going too deep into this. Same thing here. And the reason I'm doing this, by the way, is because I'm imagining there's a light source probably around here that's shining down on him. And I'm just adding some elements to kind of make the art pop a little bit, right? And this is just something that I like to do to add volume and dimension to my characters. So I'll go ahead and create some volume here, some shadow under here. And you can see I'm just simplifying. I'm not really getting into too much detail. I think I'm going to cut some of this chest off right about there. And so that means I have to go back to this layer and erase. Now I'm not labeling, I'm not labeling my layers. If this were like a very important art piece that I was doing like as a commission or something, I would probably go ahead and label things. Another thing I don't really like is the way that this chest is curving. We've added some shadows, and another thing I can do is go ahead and color these eyes in a little bit. And we can also, remember we were wondering what it was going to look like in the last video, how it would look if we pop this eye out. So let's go ahead, let's go ahead and pop this eye out. And what I mean by that, if you didn't watch the first one, is I'm going to make it round here. So that's probably as much rendering as I'll do on this one. I could render underneath his chest and everything, but since that's a part of the costume element, I'm not going to. I can also do some rendering underneath his legs, but let's just dive in. We are already at almost 4 minutes here. So with his mask, what I'll do is I'll zoom in here. I'll find a center point. Actually, let's do one more very light layer, and I'll turn it gray, and we'll erase this layer later. Okay. So I'll put a circle here, right, in between, and then from his corner of this chin, I'll connect to the first, aiming for the center of the circle. So imagine that we have a bull's. All we'll do from here on out is we will just kind of space and do the same thing. Just draw a line into everything connecting to this center point. And you can see like lines are going away because this is a 3/4. I'm curving them along the angle of his face. You see? Kind of like this. And then this one down the middle will go this formation here. Like that. Okay. So there we go. We have his webbing drawn in like this. And so now what we'll do is we'll just start doing And we might even keep his webbing like this in this gray color if we wanted to. Then we'll just go ahead and do kind of a spider webbing, right? So just curve it like this. And then remember to keep the curves going alongside, with your vertical lines. You want them to kind of round up like that. So we'll have one like this. We'll drop it down. And we're just going along with the shape of his head. You don't even have to draw one down here. It's just extra credit. And then same thing with his upper eyes here. Actually, I'm going to draw one connecting here too. And then, so I'll do the same thing. Just keep them all congruent and, all in alignment with his vertical lines. And, keep them pretty much evenly spaced apart as best as you can. And then I won't even do anything in the back here. I'll leave it like this. Let's see what it looks like if I... Sometimes it looks overkill. And if I want to remove it, I can. Okay, so there's his head, right? So we've already drawn in his the face mask here, the webbings. And then for the rest, what I like to do is I like to go straight down the center of his chest. I'll hop over to Spider and then keep going down into the point of this belt, right? And then from this belt, I'll just pop up again and I'll just kind of follow these lines. And this time it will go kind of on the outside of the spider, and then we'll have another one. Now we have to just define where does this belt go. So I'll draw the rest of his costume kind of inward like this, show a little bit of his chest, pop into his shoulder, show the inside of his shoulder, and then follow along this tricep, and then I'll stop it here, right? So, and then on the other side, we'll do the same. We'll just draw an inset here, and then we'll imagine that, we don't have to do anything else on his arm over there. That can all be webbed in. And then his boots, we've already kind of drawn. So I'll just draw something like that. And so now we have the boundaries of his costume. So from here, what we can do is just keep drawing these lines kind of curving along the costume. And we'll just keep going like this. And what I'm doing is I'm imagining that all these lines are going to the center here, where his neck would be. And then, so everything is kind of going towards that, right? As you can see. Whoops. And then from underneath his hand, so what I'll do here is I'll just pick a arbitrary point. Now I don't like to connect with the angle I don't like to connect anything here, because that kind of creates a just a weird what's the word I'm looking for? When I think of it, I'll tell you. Anyway, that's about what I would do for his arm, and then I'll come over here and I'll do the same. And then I'll just curve these in like that. And we have a pattern, you see? And then what we'll do is, since we know that the webbing is all going towards that center point where his neck is, like I told you earlier, we'll just imagine a circle. And now you can just draw kind of a circular shape here, like this. to simplify. And if you want to come back in and do webbing, you can. I think this is actually suffice when you're just drawing a quick Spider-Man character like this. And then just kind of draw some lines going down this belt here. And then just make everything look very congruent, like everything belongs. Now for this arm, curve it like this because this arm is kind of coming towards us. So you want to follow the line of the shapes. So this is a cylinder shape and it's coming at us. Same thing over here. So we'll draw a couple of these lines, and then as we're getting to the forearm, we can see that it's coming towards us a little bit, coming towards the camera. So we'll curve them like this. This foot, this leg is going away, so we'll draw like this, and then we'll put our lines in later. You can do it either way. And so you can see we simplified everything. And then we'll come back in, we'll do add some vertical lines, just going along the shapes. And same thing here. We'll just follow the curves of the cylinder. As the foot's coming towards us, we get to this midpoint, I think we can start turning it away. Actually, no. I don't like that. I'm just going to keep it going the same direction. It's fine. And we'll draw a couple lines here, flowing along the foot shape. Okay, see, pretty simple, right? And then what we'll do is we'll come here and we'll finish off the hands. So with the hands, they're very easy, and it actually makes your hands pop out a little bit more. So I will go ahead and just draw along the cylinders, just like we did with every other limb. But this kind of magnifies your hands. It just makes your fingers look a little bit more three-dimensional. And I just think it makes, that's one of the things I love about drawing Spider-Man, is you can really just kind of make his body look more volumized or three-dimensional. You can have a lot of fun. And then what I like to do on the inside, on the bottom of his hands, I like to just curve lines like that. You can even do a division like in the center of his finger, like this. This actually creates more volume. You can do that with all the fingers, if you really want to. It's not necessary. This is just a element. It's a stylistic choice, but it just kind of makes the fingers pop out a little bit more, in my opinion. With this neck here, we want to draw these lines all going towards the neck. And boom. Now we'll finish up this other hand, and I'll add a few details here. Now this isn't really a rendering video, but if you want me to do a video on rendering, I certainly can. All right, so we'll pop over here and we'll do the same thing. We'll just just a bunch of little curved lines, and just keep going. And this basically is just adding volume, and it's also part of the element of the costume. Oops. And voila. Where are we at now? We are at 16 minutes. Wow, this is a lot of recording. Spider-Man is one of those characters that just takes a little bit longer because there's a lot more finessing involved, right? So I'm just going to draw that line down the center like this. Or not the center, but kind of the upper side. And then, you can keep this thumb going the same way. And then you can even, make up your own shape here, like that. You can shade a lot of this in too. It's really up to you. I think this is suffice. We have Spider-Man. It's a pretty good dynamic pose in my opinion. Humble opinion, I should say. Now we could add more shadows and stuff like that, but like I said, it's not really a rendering video. I'll add some ribs here. Now, if you want to get really carried away, you can add in a little spider web here. If you've seen in some of the comics, I think it's a fun little element to add. You can just do so much, right? There's just, like I say, it's a stylistic approach. There's really no wrong way to do it. And boom, we have a Spider-Man sketch. So let's see how it looks without the other layers. Let's see. Oops. This one. Okay, so there's the black and white version. Now we can come in and we can say, okay, well, I want to add some volume here. Sorry, I'm making this video a little longer than I really wanted to. It was meant to be a one-part video, and look at it, it's turning into a three-parter. And luckily we're not getting into coloring because that would take even longer. And I'm not really a colorist, but I digress. All right, so here we go. Underneath here, what you could do is you could just add some lines like this and just kind of shade them in. This just gives the element of distance. When things are shaded, they kind of look further away. And let's see. Overall, I'm satisfied with this sketch, even though it's done on an iPad digitally. Not my number one choice of medium, but it turned out decent. Now you could add a shadow here. Really up to you. You can shade in this part of the costume if you wanted to. All right, and we're going to stop here. I think this is fine. Let's go ahead and erase this little light here. And we can even get rid of, I only put these this drawing grid here just for the sake of more of a aesthetic type thing, not really necessary. Okay, so we'll get rid of the drawing grid. And this is our final character. Boom. What do you think? Now you can color this in, and I want you to try this on your own and see what you come up with, and show it to me. Send it to me. You can find me on Instagram, Van Orden Art, and I'll put a link in the description. Watch all 3 videos and tell me what you've learned. And if you really want to dive into this, if you're serious about getting better at art, I really recommend you take my anatomy course, which is on Skillshare, Udemy, and also Gumroad. I'll leave those links in the description as well. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed. I will see you in the next one. Oh, by the way, whenever you finish a sketch, I always say to my students, don't forget to add your signature. Now, I can't really write very well with this iPad pencil, but hey, whatever, or Apple Pencil. But I wanted to look like, boom, there we go. All right, we're done. I'll see you in the next one.